Konami Studios. Here's something I'm very excited to talk about with you guys. I was actually really happy with this announcement. I didn't think there was anything about it that really made me upset. If you guys don't know from reading the title, we're getting a new Ninja Turtle movie from a brilliant creative team. So we'll delve into that a little bit there. And then we'll get into some of the things I maybe want to see, some of the stuff I'm expecting, some of the things I'm not sure we're going to get, but I'd love to see happen. So we are getting a new animated Nickelodeon Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie from the creative team of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. They will be acting as producers on this. Our director is going to be Jeff Rowe. He's worked on Gravity Falls. And our writer is Brendan O'Brien, who did Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates. I don't hate any of those names. I think all those names work really well. I love the idea of bringing in this Gravity Falls guy, because that show is really good with the mystery and the intrigue and the different characters each having their own moments, which I think is something that could work really well for Ninja Turtles, because each turtle needs to be distinct. Casey needs to be distinct. April, Splinter, their side characters, everyone around them needs to have their own personality and way about them, which I think would work really well here. And Mike and Dave Need Wedding Dates, it's pretty funny. I mean, it's not my favorite comedy, but it's got the good humor there. But what really intrigues me about this piece is the Rogen and Goldberg news, because look at their history so far in terms of adapting some of this stuff. They did The Boys, which is great. They did Preacher, which is kind of okay. I think they're doing Invincible, whenever that's supposed to be coming out on Amazon. They are adapting a lot of great comic book properties, which leads me to think maybe we're going to be skewing in the direction of this cartoon towards some of the comic book stuff. I mean, I love a lot of the comic book stuff that the Ninja Turtles have delved into. I think that first Mirage run, while not my favorite interpretation of the Turtles, it gave us everything coming forward. I think that's really cool. But I also think that area and that time frame of that Ninja Turtles is a little too graphic for the audience we're going to go for. I did a whole video on my Geek Wave podcast talking about how we don't need dark and gritty Ninja Turtles. It defeats the entire purpose of these characters moving forward and becoming what they are today. I don't want to see dark and gritty. But I'm going to say this, and you guys can take it with a grain of salt or not. I think Nickelodeon as a whole, as a brand, has been very just positive and influential in terms of the Black Lives Matter movement and in terms of letting kids understand things and just read up on their history and their knowledge and becoming very aware of the times we live in. It leads me to think maybe Nickelodeon would be willing to go a little more mature for this kind of a project, because you don't get a guy like Rogen and Goldberg unless you want to go a little more mature. Now, that's not a knock about doing this in the Gravity Falls style, but I think in the vein of Gravity Falls 2, that's aimed for kids, but there's a lot of good jokes in there for the older audience and for older people. And a lot of people that watch that show happen to be just a little older than I think the target demographic for those things. And I do think a lot of that has to come from Nickelodeon, because Nickelodeon, they've been very up in front about a lot of the issues in the world today. So if you got guys like Evan Goldberg and Seth Rogen, and they're coming up, it's like, we got the guy from Gravity Falls here. We have an idea for a Ninja Turtles movie, and we kind of want to do it based on the comic book. That means there's going to be a little more fight scenes, a little more intense. No swearing, though, but just a little more graphic, and maybe somebody's going to die in a not horrific way, but just a little more intense of a way. I think we could definitely be seeing that happening, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the route we went. I do think if I had to just place a bet on what would happen in this series, or I guess in this movie, I think we'd be doing the IDW comic book. I don't know if we do the whole run there, that's a lot to cover, but that's just the tone and feel I'd get. It's a little more grounded, a little more mature, but it goes to all these crazy places. You know, I think that's a really great place to put it. I have a couple ideas that I think would work really well for an animated project like this. One of them being something in the vein of Into the Spider-Verse for the Turtles. We could see our characters go through different points of time, meaning different interpretations of those characters. I think that's a great way to get all these fans of different genres and ages to come together for this, because there's a rich turtle history that I think could be tapped into there. And that could be really cool to see. I'd love to see, actually, I know it's probably a far cry from what would happen. I'd love to see that original like first arc of the IDW series where the Turtles are trying to find Raph and there's the old Hobbs stuff and maybe Splinter has a history we don't really know about. I think that could be really fun too, but we're probably going to have an established Turtles universe in this just because we don't need the origin in this. I think the Michael Bay movies kind of burned us out on wanting the origin movie for these kind of stuff because it was just so bizarre and weird. But I still really like this idea. And if it goes in the route of the Gravity Falls thing, could we get some mystery in here? Maybe we're going to see the Shredders working for somebody else. I really hope they don't do Shredder as the first villain. I could see maybe we're having to hunt down these different mutated creatures. Where are they going to go? Who are they? We're going to different parts of the world for it. What is Casey's relationship to this? What is April's relationship to this? How is that going to play out? I think that could be really cool. And I want to put this out there too. I made this joke earlier on my Twitter. Seth Rogen should voice Bebop. Because then that's 2 cartoon warthogs for him to be playing. And then he could just he could just become every cartoon warthog in existence. And that would be hilarious. And I think a lot of people would enjoy that. I really like what this movie could be. And I know we don't know anything about it. There was something that just came out on We Got This Covered, so don't buy into a lot of it, but they're saying Krang could be the main villain of this. I think that's a bold choice for your first movie, and I know it's animated, so you can do a lot more stuff. But the Turtles, I think, should always go in the term of like your street-level villain, your ninja villain, and then go into your space villain. So it should always be like your Rat King or your, I don't know, Slash, I guess, your Metalhead, your Baxter Stockman. Then go into your Shredder and your Foot Clan. Then go into your Triceraton, Utrom. I say Utrom because I love the 2003 cartoon. Your Utrom, Krang, that kind of stuff. That's where you should go to your last movie. So I'm kind of hesitant to think we're going to start off with Krang. Everybody has a good Shredder story to tell, and everyone wants to tell Shredder first, but I'd rather we build up to Shredder, because he is their Joker, he is their Lex Luthor, he is their Green Goblin. Don't waste him in your first movie if you know you're going to get another one. And we've had a lot of Turtle reboots. Let's do something completely new with this. Let's not even focus on Shredder here, okay? Let's set up these people maybe working for Shredder. We could do the Mighty Mutanimals as the villains. That could be an interesting angle that not a lot of people would be thinking about. Because could you imagine if we had people like Slash and Old Hob and working with the Shredder, but we don't know who they're working for, and that kind of angle? That could be really cool to see. I'd still think a really good angle is the Into the Spider-Verse stuff, where you have a bunch of different turtles going to different worlds. They did that kind of cartoon at the end of the 2003 one where it was like Turtles Forever, it was real. I love that movie. I think it's a really good movie and really interesting stuff to see. I think it's really interesting and cool. And there's an angle in the Turtles that not a lot of people are expecting or willing to do, which I think you should, because there's a huge, vast history there that could be really interesting to explore. And if I had to say it, I know I said mature, but I also kind of want the kiddish side of things. I think the best balance we've seen for the two is the 2012 animated series, because that felt really good at balancing the here's the dark and gritty, here's the intense stuff that people like, and here's the fun stuff that kids are going to enjoy, and mashing that together. Of course, this isn't going to be The Boys, because it's not going to be that intense, it's not going to be that crazy, but it could be really fun. And just having those creative presence on screen, because you could tell there's a lot of passion behind this, which is something a Turtle movie desperately needs. Because say what you will about the stuff Michael Bay worked on, there's a lot of stuff that was wrong about those. For the most part, I think they're tolerable. But I want something that's going to make me feel as a Turtle fan. You know, something that's going to be like, that is my interpretation of the Turtles. That is a great Master Splinter story. That's how I want the Shredder to be portrayed. That's the way Casey has always felt to me. I want a collaboration on all those stuff. I think a good way to do this too is the animation style of Scoob, which I know not a lot of people like Scoob. I think it's okay. But that style of animation for Scoob, I think, could work really well here, and just show you these different looks for these characters. So that could be really fun. But Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, you know this is going to be something that's going to be critically acclaimed in terms of the comic book community, because they know how to work on a comic book property. They really do. And you could tell there's going to be something behind this. I'm expecting a mix of the mature and the campy in terms of the IDW comic book. I would love to see a street level villain at first, leading up to our Krang, leading up to our Shredder, but I don't know how that's going to happen. and I'm not going to hold anybody against it if it does happen. I think it's really cool. I love this idea, and if you guys want to see me do a full-on Geek Wave talking about what I want to see from this movie, I might be interested in doing that. I kind of hinted out a few things here that I'm interested in. Or I could pitch to you guys my dream projects for the Ninja Turtles, because I have a couple projects that I'd love to work on that are just kind of different and unique in terms of telling a Ninja Turtle story. They're not stuff we'd see in this show, but it could be really cool. So what do you guys think? Are you excited to see what this movie could be? I'd love to hear it in the comments below, what you guys want to see, what you expect, what you're looking forward to, and if you think Seth Rogen should be Bebop, because that's obviously what should happen. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. You can check me out on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, all that good stuff. And I will catch you guys in the next one. Have fun. Stay safe. Good luck. Turtle power!